Hi guys, how are you today? I hope you're all well. I just want to give you the US Open preview, the 2020 US Open preview. First, I want to talk about the Western and Southern Open and what happened there. The final was Raonic against Djokovic, and Djokovic basically played a poor match, was at about a 2 out of 10 level in the first set, lost that 6-1, then got to sort of an average 5, 6, 4 out of 10 second and third, but Raonic made a lot of errors. As I predicted, Djokovic got his serve back too many times, forced him into long rallies. He had no chance. So an average Djokovic in the second and third set got him both sets. The problem was Djokovic was horrible in the first set, so he lost that 6-1. But basically, Djokovic won the tournament without playing well. No Federer, no Nadal there. His best rivals would be Tsitsipas and Medvedev and Thiem, and none of them he had to play either. So he got away, winning the tournament, playing quite poorly. So he's the champion of the Western and Southern. Cincinnati moved to New York. Now let's talk about the 2020 US Open. Okay, so I've looked at I wanted to watch the first day before I gave my preview and see the court speed. It's they're using a manufacturer. I'm not sure the name, but they do the courts in Miami. So basically, it's about that speed. Um, the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open, sorry, is usually it's always been a high bouncing court. It used to be fast high bouncing. Then it transitioned into a medium pace high bouncing court. The last couple of years, it was a slow high bouncing court in 2018, 2019. For the first time, they've got rid of the high bouncing. It's a medium to low bouncing court. So no more high bounce at the US Open. But it's still a slow court, a slow hard court, but the high bounce is gone. It's not the same courts they use there, even though it's the same facility for the Western and Southern or the Cincinnati one. There they use still the high bouncing, but the fast, so the old US Open courts when it was fast and high bouncing. Now it's a slow court and low bounce, low to sort of medium bounce. So quite opposite. It went from a high bouncing fast court to a lower medium bouncing slow court. And they just somehow changed that in a few days. But obviously, the people who run the Western and Southern Open wanted one court, the US Open wanted another, and they found a way to change it in a couple of days. So that's what we're left. It's a slow court, but no more high bounce. So I wanted to sort of monitor that in my preview. If not, I would have done it before the tournament, but I wanted to have all the facts. So as for what I'm thinking is going to happen in this year's 2020 US Open, Djokovic has got rid of his rivals, Federer and Nadal. They're not there. So usually he would be a huge favorite, but he's not playing well and he has neck problems. So basically, if you're the young guys, you're never going to get a chance like this. You need to take advantage of it. Thiem and Medvedev and even Tsitsipas have a chance to win a Grand Slam. Only one of the big three is there, Djokovic, and he's got a neck problem and he's partially injured. And he's not even playing well. He's struggling with fitness after a long break. So you're never going to get a chance to take a Grand Slam like you are now, particularly if you're Thiem and Medvedev too. You've got a great chance. The last two Grand Slams we've seen, one thing is if you beat Federer at his age, but Djokovic and Nadal, who are 5 years younger, if you can beat them, that's the challenge. And we saw Thiem go to a fifth set at the Australian Open final, get one set away from, beating Djokovic at his best Grand Slam. And then we saw Medvedev do it to Nadal in a fifth set at the US Open. Both of them, they're not just challenging Federer, they're getting one set away from winning a Grand Slam in Grand Slam finals against Nadal and Djokovic. That's like the real challenge for the. So they're basically one set away, and then it's much easier this time because they have Federer and Nadal gone. They have to beat one of them, and he's injured and not really playing well. So of course Djokovic can still win, but these young guys. But another advantage is after Federer and Nadal, the next biggest challenger for Djokovic has been Stan Wawrinka. So he's also not there. So it's a bit of a dream for Djokovic. And then in the draw, his biggest two challengers, Thiem and Medvedev, he could have had to beat maybe Medvedev in the semi-finals and Thiem in the final. But the way the draw has went, that they're both on the other side of the draw. So if the top four seeds are in the semi-finals, Thiem and Medvedev will have to go at each other, make themselves exhausted, and then Djokovic would only have to beat one of them in the final. So that's the situation with that, and he would get Tsitsipas in the semi-finals. So that's another huge advantage. But then I just see like Djokovic, he's getting very tired. He's got neck problems, and he's going to have to go from not playing 6 months to 3 weeks in a row. He goes to the start of the US Open 2 long weeks with the end of a week of a Masters 1000 with lots of long matches. He's exhausted. Only one day off, and then he's got to play 7 best-of-5 set matches. At the end of those 2 weeks will be the end of 3 weeks of consecutive tennis. He's going to be very exhausted, and he's going to be playing his hardest matches, a semi-final and final at the US Open. So that's why and then any injury he has could get worse. I'm thinking one of the young guys will take advantage of this and will win the US Open. The problem is Thiem and Medvedev, who have the best chance, will have to play each other in the semi-final, and then Djokovic in the final. So that makes it harder. But if we look at the draw, and before the quarterfinals, the matches aren't that interesting, so I won't go through beatdowns of lower-ranked players. But Djokovic in his quarterfinal, he would have David Goffin. Now, I don't think Goffin could really challenge him well, especially on a slow court. So I would give it to slow hard court Djokovic, and he'd be in the semi-final. The advantage is not just for he has Zverev due to play Tsitsipas in the quarterfinal. The winner of that would play Djokovic in the semi-final, so that could be a bit of a tough match. Whoever gets through could be tired. So probably I'd give that quarterfinal to Tsitsipas to beat Zverev. Then we would have a semi-final between Tsitsipas and Djokovic. On the other side, well, it's really inconsistent because like Thiem played all through this time, this 6 months off they had in many exhibition matches. So you would think Thiem would be the favorite to win everything because like everybody's having to come off 6 months off. He's played everything. He's won almost every match during that time. But then when it gets to that Cincinnati tournament, he plays one of the worst matches of his career and loses 6-1, 6-2 to Krajinovic. So that's it. So then anything you would expect of Thiem is now gone. But then it could just be one bad match. It could be because they made the Western and Southern tournament. This court was much faster, and the US Open is a slow court, so he may do better. But who knows why? When he was the one with all this exhibition, all this lead up, ready to go, and then throws in the worst match of his career. So you never know. I felt like Medvedev in his 3 matches in the Western and Southern played well. At a high level, it was just that like his match against Batista Agut, he wins the first set 6-1. Second and third, he's at a 7 out of 10 level, but Agut's at about 8 out of 10. So he loses that match, but I felt like he had a good level in the Western and Southern, probably the best of anyone. So that's what I'm thinking. So if he's in the if he's in the quarterfinals, he would play Berrettini, and Berrettini just won't be able to stay in the rallies. Will go too much and hit it out, and he won't stand a chance against a Medvedev in that quarterfinal. That would put Medvedev in the semi-finals, and Thiem would play Batista Agut. Lots of long rallies there, and Thiem would just have too much power with the forehand against Agut on that sort of slow court. So that would put Medvedev and Thiem in one semi-final and Djokovic Tsitsipas in the other. In this type of situation, I would favour Djokovic against Tsitsipas on this sort of slow court because his serve wouldn't be as effective, and try to get in these long rallies with Djokovic's speed and consistency over 5 sets. I just think Tsitsipas will make too many errors. Even though Djokovic is not playing great, he'll be consistent enough. So I'd favour him to move through to the final. Then his two biggest rivals, Medvedev and Thiem, would play in the other semi-final. They could go either way, but I just, I mean, if you asked me before the Western and Southern, I would say Thiem. But just because Medvedev played at a good level at the Western Southern and Thiem was horrible, I'd give it to Medvedev. So then you'd be left with Medvedev in the US Open final against Djokovic. And just because Djokovic is not playing at a very good level at all, doesn't seem to have fitness, seems to be injured, I'm only put him in the final because, like I said, um, he's got both Thiem and Medvedev on the other side. But then a final with him and Medvedev, 5 sets on a slow court, lots of long. It'll be a lung buster, lots of long, burning out sort of rallies, and a lot of it both consistency, both not giving away many unforced errors, and both with great speed. So whenever you're controlling the point, the other guy will have great defense. You'll have to continually hit 3, 4, 5 shots to end it. Both of them will, and both of them won't give unforced errors. Lots of long rallies, maybe 4 or 5 hours, if Djokovic raises his level to get to that level. And I just don't think he has the fitness with his neck, and also with he just looks to be very tired, and I just don't. I think Medvedev would outlast him in that final. So my prediction for the 2020 US Open champion will be Medvedev. I mean, a slow sort of, but Thiem. I'm only really not picking Thiem because what he did in the Western and Southern. If he gets his game back, then he will have the huge forehand to get through this slow court. And he has the best finishing ability in sort of those long rallies. When you think about Medvedev, Djokovic, and Thiem has that ability. So if he's playing well, he can and should win it. But the problem is he hasn't shown me that, and Medvedev looked much better. He made the final last year, so I'm giving it to Medvedev, and then I'm saying Medvedev will also beat Djokovic. Djokovic to be go for, like I think it's a disadvantage to play 3 long weeks in a row. So to be have all those exhausting matches, the Western and Southern, and then have to go for another 2 weeks at a Grand Slam at Djokovic's age is going to be very exhausting for him. But whereas you really want to have the week off before, but that's the only way to play. The ideal is if you get 3 matches, so you're not exhausting yourself before, but you're not coming into a Grand Slam with no tennis for 6 months. And then after your 3 matches, you've got about 6 days off. And so you can't say you've played too much, but you can't say you haven't played. And even if the 3 matches 6 days ago isn't enough, Medvedev can keep building on that in the first few rounds when he plays lower ranked players. And by then it's like got 6 or 7 matches before the competition gets to a good level. Medvedev played well, he should be ready to go, and I'm picking him to go one better than last year and win this. But it's unpredictable. Medvedev, he goes in streaks. He plays well for a while, not for a while. Same with Thiem. So one of them could lose in the first round, or both, or they could both be at their best, fighting in the semi-finals. And then Djokovic, like I said, Djokovic is not playing well. Federer and Nadal are not there. Djokovic has also got a neck injury, so one of the young guys should take this. I'm saying it's going to be Medvedev. It could be Thiem. It could be Tsitsipas. But it's a bit unpredictable, and especially when we haven't seen much reference. That match against Thiem, one bad game, might not be representative. It could just be a one-off, or it could represent what he's going to do here. Um, so it could be quite interesting, this tournament, and very unpredictable. But when I see Djokovic having the disadvantage of having to play all those matches and having to go for 3 matches in a row, the neck injury, when I see Thiem playing so horrible at the Western and stuff and not getting almost any matches, and then I see Medvedev getting 3 matches and then having 6 days off before it and playing at quite a high level, that's why I've got to give it to him. So I'm saying it'll be the semi-finals will be Tsitsipas and Djokovic. Djokovic will win. The other one will be Thiem against Medvedev, and Medvedev will win that, and Medvedev will win the final. But I wouldn't be surprised if the inconsistency of Thiem and Medvedev, the only guys that could probably beat Djokovic, cost them, or they get in the final against Djokovic and mentally the pressure's too much, they have a bad game and give it to Djokovic. That could happen. The other thing is Thiem, if he's at his best, he'll win it because in these long rallies, he has the power with his forehand and also his backhand to hit through this slow court in a way that Djokovic doesn't and Medvedev doesn't. So if he's playing his best, he'll win it. But he hasn't shown me that, so I'm going to go with Medvedev. And then, like I said, Djokovic, the physicality, the injury, the 3 weeks in a row. Usually without Federer, Nadal, and Stan, and both Medvedev and Thiem on the other side, I would give it to him. But this time I can't. So I'm going to say Medvedev will be the champion. But really, I'm going to be watching every round, and depending on how they're playing, if I see Thiem come through the first few rounds at a high level, then I'm going to say it's going to be him. But just based on what I've said, I'm saying Medvedev will win the US Open at this point. But it's very unpredictable. It could be any of those top 4 seeds: Tsitsipas, Djokovic, Thiem, Medvedev. But if they're all at their best, probably I'd give it to Thiem. But then Djokovic has the advantage. He can be outplayed by these guys and better mentally. The pressure of a final, the pressure of close moments to play his best. Whereas Medvedev and Thiem, especially Thiem, can lose it under pressure. Medvedev, I find he's okay under pressure. He did well. He made Nadal fight all the way to the end of the 5th set, 5 hours. If he does that to Djokovic with his fitness and neck problems, Djokovic wouldn't be able to beat him in the final. So I'm saying Medvedev will win it. We've got the court is actually slow but slightly faster than it was last year, and the high bounce of the US Open's gone. So we've got a slow hard court, slightly faster than last year, low to medium bounce. So that's what we're dealing with, and like I'm saying, his Thiem has a great chance if he reaches his best. Because he hasn't shown me that Medvedev, both these guys have a great chance. Even Tsitsipas, an outside chance. With no Federer, with no Nadal, and with Djokovic with a neck injury and having to play 3 consecutive full weeks and looking to have a problem with his fitness and not playing well. So that's how I see the 2020 US Open going. I'm going to do another video with the with a preview of the semi-finals of the US Open and the final, but I may do a preview of the quarterfinal depending on how interesting the matchups look. If we've got a lot of good matches, I'll preview the quarterfinal too. If not, I won't, but I'm definitely previewing the semi-final and final of the US Open. Enjoy the tennis. Have a great day. Have a great week, and I'll be with you soon for some more videos in about 9 or 10 days when we head towards either the quarterfinals or semi-finals. Enjoy the tennis. Give me the thumbs up. Hit the bell notification. Subscribe. And look out for my future videos. Bye for now.